Have you ever tried to find out who's the strongest swordsman in the famous manga One Piece? Well, in this video, we did it for you! We'll present the 10 strongest swordsmen in the anime One Piece and explain why they're so strong. So let's start with number 10, Trafalgar D. Law. No need to present him again. You all know Trafalgar D. Law and his devil fruit Ope Ope no Mi, which makes him a surgeon. He can remodel every anatomy or part of the human body in a room he claims his piece. His power can be dementia, and as we saw in the episode of Punk Hazard, he was able to cut Virgo, one of the strongest lieutenants of Don Quixote, and the whole island at the same time. He was destroying the laboratory at the same time. Plus, we could see him in his fight against Big Mom. Trafalgar is definitely one of the strongest swordsmen of One Piece. Trafalgar D. Law is the bearer of the D, and as many characters bearing this letter, he's a holder of a certain power. Number 9. Admiral Fujitto. Admiral Fujitto was introduced to the plot after the fight of Marineford. He was introduced as a new admiral, and he truly deserves his seat in this ranking. He uses a special type of Japanese sword you can use both as a weapon and as a cane. He was fighting Luffy, Sabo, Don Quixote, and even revolutionaries without even breaking a sweat. Plus, he has a very powerful devil fruit, which allows him to control gravity, lift battleships, and even make meteors fall. The best thing about him, he's so incredible, and he's blind. Number 8. Roronoa Zoro. Zoro is the right hand of Luffy and a powerful user of the three-sword style. He's also the first member of the Straw Hat Pirates. His goal is to become the most powerful swordsman in the world. He was trained by Dracula Mihawk, which will appear later in this video. After he sensed his potential, he defeated very powerful opponents like Pika, which was a stone colossus, the second hand of Kaido, and even injured the mighty Kaido himself. If Luffy is said to become the future king of the pirates, Zoro will certainly become the future king of hell. Doesn't it remind you of a certain someone who, as a right hand, held an epithet with king mentioned? The best thing about it, he's still far from reaching his peak. It is mentioned by Mihawk that he still has so much to accomplish, and there's room for improvement. Imagine what he'll become in the future. Number 7. Dracula Mihawk. Dracula Mihawk is actually the best swordsman in the world. He was once a Shichibukai, and before that, a rival of Shanks. He's currently a member of the Cross Guild alongside Crocodile and Buggy. Mihawk is a master swordsman, known as Hawkeye for his piercing eyes, and his manipulation of the black sword Yoru, which is considered the most powerful sword in the world. It's said that Mihawk's mastery of the sword is at a level where any sword would be a masterpiece in its hand. He's also very proficient in hockey, and taught Zoro about it after sensing his potential. What's fascinating about him is that he's truly feared by the world government, and he's only operating solo. He still remains a mystery even now. Number 6. Silvers Rayleigh. Silvers Rayleigh was the Rogers Pirates' first lieutenant and a close friend of the Pirate King. He was said to be frightening, and his nickname was quite dark. Some of the Marine soldiers preferred to face Goldie Roger instead of facing him. He was considered as a legend and truly one of the strongest swordsmen of his generation. He was also Luffy's teacher, who taught him hockey and guided him after seeing him in a familiar sparkle. As second in command of the Pirate King, Rayleigh battled and faced against the strongest opponents of his generation. He's able to use every type of hockey and was even able to stop the Admiral Kizaru. His title was the Dark King. So cool, right? Number 5. Kozuki Oden. Kozuki Oden was a daimyo of the Wano country, who sailed with Whitebeard and joined Goldie Roger on his final journey to Laugh Tale. He was also in a position to be the next shogun of the Wano country, and he was the leader of a group of very powerful samurai called the 9 Red Scabbards. Odin was an extremely skilled swordsman who wielded 2 powerful swords, Enma and Ame no Habakiri. Enma in particular is a difficult sword to master, as we saw when Zoro struggled to control it. Odin was so good at controlling haki that his haki remained in Enma. He was almost able to kill Kaido by himself. His skills increased tremendously when he was fighting alongside Whitebeard and Roger when he joined their crew. Odin was a typical representation of the Japanese honorable warrior, the samurai, and even if he was using a dual sword-wielding style, he was the strongest samurai. Number 4. Red-haired Shanks. Shanks was also a member of the crew of Goldie Roger's pirates. He created his own crew after the disbanding of Goldie Rogers and called them the Red Hair Pirates. After that, he will become one of the 4 emperors, and he will be famous for his mastery of hockey. His is potentially the strongest hockey in the world, and its mastery has no equal. We simply know that the name of his sword is Griffin, but we're not sure if it's one of the 12 Supreme Blades. When he's fighting against his old friend Dracula Mihawk, their duel creates an echo through the Grand Line. Shanks is maybe one of the strongest characters in the world of One Piece. Number 3. Rioma. Rioma is known as the God Sword, an epithet he earned following his feats in his country, the country of Wano. It's said that he's the reason why Wano country could remain independent. He was holding a mythical sword called Shisui. It was considered as a relic among the swordsmen, and particularly the samurai. Little is known about him except that he was the greatest samurai who ever lived in the Wano country, even greater than Odin. He was resurrected by Gekko Moria, and even as a zombie, he was still an incredible warrior, even if he was far from his peak. He killed a dragon in one slash, and had a bad habit of challenging to the death whoever touched his sword, even unintentionally. Number 2. King. King the Conflagration is one of the 3 all-stars of the Beast Pirates, and Kaido's right-hand man. Born as Albur, he's a member of the near-extinct Lunarian tribe, very tall and muscular with white hair. The Lunarians are a race of people from the Red Line, capable of creating fire from their body. The race is commonly thought to be extinct, with King as the only natural survivor. It's unknown if they're related or are close relatives to the Seraphims. He was captured and used as a testing subject by the world government, and was freed by Kaido. Their bond was very strong, and he was the right hand of Kaido. He was very good with his sword, for example when fighting against Zoro, and repelled the Big Mom pirates to set foot on the Wano country. Number 1. Gol D. Roger. The previous pirate king was the man who conquered the seas and feared as the strongest pirate in his era. He was also Ace's father and a rival of Whitebeard and Garp, and only a few dared to fight against him. He didn't have the power of a devil fruit, but he was a master of the power of Haki, and the most powerful user of his era. Not only that, but he managed to find many treasures, and among them, the legendary One Piece. Maybe he was the most powerful user of Haki who ever existed in the history, and his mastery of 3 Hakis was also known as legendary. He wielded one of the 12 supreme blades called Ace, and he could defeat the entire army of a nation with a single blow from his sword. We can wonder where his son's name comes from. Gol D. Roger definitely was a titan of his era, and one of the most powerful characters and swordsmen of the manga. It's only natural for him to appear in this video, along with other swordsmen. With this video, you can guess who are the best swordsmen of the One Piece manga. There are other famous and powerful swordsmen, or even very mysterious ones like the Holy Knights, or God's Knights, or even one of the 5 elders holding something like a longsword. We made this video because swordsmen play a major role in the world of our favorite pirates. One Piece has many strong characters, and there are basically 2 types of strong characters, swordsmen or devil fruit users. Some characters like Sanji are an exception, but they remain rare. If you want to discover more of our videos about the strongest characters or the best moments of the anime, you can cut the subscription button with your Supreme Blade, or hit it with your Haki. Maybe we will put you in the next ranking if you're strong enough. Thanks for watching, and see you soon on the sea.